So today I'm going to go over some back pain questions that I've got from people. Range of different ones. I'm just going to bang through them. If anyone does jump on, feel free to ask me any questions in the chat. So the first one I'm going to answer about back pain is it worth getting a standing desk? So I assume this is from someone who predominantly works at home or works in an office. So I think generally a standing desk is a great idea, not because it actually allows you to stand up, because actually standing is, standing is no different to sitting because you're just in one position. What's really important for back pain is actually changing your position and posture and just moving around a lot. So the standing desk allows you to do that because obviously you can sit for, let's say, half an hour or an hour, and then when you get sore or your back gets a little bit uncomfortable, then you can simply knock the desk up and go into a standing position. So I really like it, and that's how I use it personally. This one I got was about 150 quid, and it's just got like an electric thing on the side that allows you to go up and down. And I'm not someone that suffers with back pain like massively at all, but yeah, I think it's always a good option, to be honest. How important is flexibility for preventing back pain? So that is the next question on the list. Flexibility is a bit of a funny one. So a lot of people think that if you're more mobile, if you do a lot of yoga, if you do a lot of Pilates, it's going to reduce your risk of getting back pain. And actually, it doesn't at all. If you look at injury rates across different sports, gymnastics, dance, sports that require a high level of flexibility, and a lot of people who do that are very mobile, very flexible, they actually have quite high rates of injuries in comparison to other sports where people maybe aren't as flexible. So let's look at powerlifting, for example. So it doesn't always correlate. I would say what's more important is probably your strength, your sleep quality, your movement frequency. So like, again, going back to the standing desk, if you sit at a desk all day, making sure you're getting up and moving around a bit. Your lifestyle, your relationship around pain, what do you think is causing your back pain? There's a lot of things going on. So no, I don't really think flexibility is that important for preventing back pain, if I'm being completely honest. Is getting a diagnosis important for back pain? So no, definitely not. I think if you're getting really bad symptoms, and what I mean by really bad symptoms, sorry, that's my water bottle making a funny sound. What I mean by really bad symptoms is if you start to get a lot of pins and needles in your legs, you're getting numbness in your bum or areas around there. For men and ladies, I think you know what I'm on about there. So if you start to get issues there, that's like a serious thing, because obviously nerves in your back are affecting what's going on down there, and you need to go to hospital ASAP. But if you're not getting those symptoms and you've just generally got a sore back, it's not getting worse, it's staying about the same, or it's slowly getting better, then a diagnosis is not going to help you. Because number one, when you give someone a diagnosis, they worry, they type it in on Google or ChatGPT, and horrible things come up. You've got a load of random exercises that they tell you to do. Google will give you the worst case scenario about your diagnosis, and so it just makes you panic. It's not a good idea. The second thing is it doesn't really help you because, for example, when I look at someone with back pain, what I'm really looking for is what's their movement like? Where are they limited in terms of movement, in terms of strength? Do they lack confidence in certain positions? And what plan do I need to put in place to get them back to what they want to be doing? Whether that is playing a sport, playing football, playing rugby, or maybe it's just bending over to tie the shoelace or taking a dog for a walk or sitting for an hour pain-free, whatever the goal is, depending on the person. So yeah, I don't think it's very important for back pain. I actually don't think it's very important for any other sort of pain unless the injury is acute. And all acute means is that it's happened very, very suddenly. So for example, you're playing rugby and you tear your ACL. Obviously, that is a little bit different. Next question. How do you still go to the gym when suffering with a sore back? I'm struggling to do deadlifts and squats. So the first thing I would ask you is, what can you manage with minimal to no pain? So if you think of a pain scale, 0 represents no pain, 10 represents the worst pain imaginable. If you can do activities within that 0 to 3 out of 10 pain score, that's a great start. So this completely depends on the person, but can you go for a 5-10 minute walk and keep it within that 0 to 3 out of 10 pain score range? Amazing. Obviously, if you can't stand up, you can't, you're lying on the floor on your back and you can't move, that's completely different. That's probably a bit more serious. And again, you probably need to go to hospital. But if you can move and it's just the squats and deadlifts that are painful, then it's still just a case of going into the gym and just swapping those exercises for other exercises that you can manage within that pain score. That is what I'd recommend if I hadn't assessed someone, because obviously if I'd assessed you, I'd give you specific exercises and a program to do. But if I hadn't assessed someone, I would swap the squat for an exercise that targets similar muscle groups but puts less stress on the back. For example, a leg extension machine to target the quads. Deadlift, you could do something like a glute kickback if your gym has got that machine, or you could do something like a hip thrust, which for most people is going to be a lot more comfortable on the back than a deadlift, just because of the position you're in. So do as much as you can really is the answer within a manageable pain score, because resting is going to make the issue a lot worse. Because complete rest, because you're going to lose strength, you're going to lose confidence, you're going to lose mobility. Next one, easy wins to reduce back pain from home. I've got no gym available. So one of the easiest things you can do is going on short walks, like I said. So if you can manage 5 to 10 minute walks quite frequently throughout your day, that's amazing. That'll really help loosen everything off. It'll also help de-stress you, which is a massive part of back pain. Another simple thing you can do is just some gentle breathing lying on your back. So if you lie on your back, you bend your knees and then you have your feet flat on the floor. That puts your back generally in a more comfortable position for a lot of people. And then you just practice some deep inhales through your nose and then long exhales through your mouth with your hands wherever you want them. You can just pop them on your chest or by your side and just run through 2 to 3 sets of anywhere from 8 to 10 breaths. What you can also do is you can put your hands further down on your rib cage, and so you can feel your rib cage expanding and then closing as you exhale. So you can also do that, which is quite nice. So as you inhale, you'll feel your rib cage spreading apart, gives you some visual feedback. And then as you exhale through your mouth, you can feel your ribs closing. Getting the rib cage moving tends to reduce a lot of pain and just improve movement, which massively helps with back pain. So that's another easy win. How can you help people with back pain without touching them? So I assume here you're referring to online coaching, online physio. How does that work? Well, it works because of the things I've mentioned. So what isn't going to help your back pain is getting hands-on treatment or resting, because these two things are really in the same bucket. Because regardless of if you sit and do nothing at home, or you go get a massage, or you go get acupuncture, or you get your back cracked, none of those things are improving your mobility, your strength, your confidence, and they're not going to get, therefore, as a result of that, they're not going to get you back to the sport or activity you want to do. It's not that clear cut and dry. Like, there's obviously a lot of other things going on apart from improving those physical qualities, your knowledge around the injury, your confidence, your beliefs around pain, but the hands-on stuff is not going to do that. And so online coaching really kind of bridges that gap, because you have someone that keeps you accountable day to day. I just check in with people on WhatsApp, drop them a message. Have you done your exercises? Have you done X, Y, and Z? Keeps people accountable. They get on with it. They've got a plan in place. They get stronger. They get more mobile. They get more confident. I'm not going to do a sales pitch for my coaching, but you get the idea. I've got a bulging disc in my back. Got this recently. Is this serious? Do I need to go into hospital? So the first thing again is those symptoms. Are you getting those symptoms? So a lot of pins and needles, numbness, loss of strength and control in your legs. That's a big one. And is it getting worse? If it's getting worse, I would always go in. If it's improving, if it's getting better, generally not. A bulging disc though on its own is not something to be concerned about. All of us have got bulging discs. Whether they cause pain or not is completely random. So I've never had pain in my back that would reflect a bulging disc, so to speak. But if you took a scan of my back, you might find a lot of bulging discs because previously I've done quite a lot of weightlifting, some heavy deadlifts, heavy squats, and I still do occasionally. So my back isn't going to be free of damage, so to speak. But if that's causing pain is another question, because pain is a lot more complex than just more damage on a scan equals more pain. It's obviously influenced by a lot of other things going on in your life. With a lot of people with back pain, sleep can be an issue, nutrition can be an issue, general activity levels can be an issue, relationships can be an issue. I don't want to go too deep, but yeah, that's kind of oversimplifying it again. Hopefully that answers the question. How long do you work with How long do you work with back pain clients for? This massively depends on their goal, how long they've been dealing with back pain for. So I'll give you an example of someone I worked with, just sprung to mind, last November. He was a footballer, semi-pro footballer, and he was struggling with a hamstring injury and chronic back pain. And he was struggling to play matches, and he was struggling to do training, essentially. He was in a really bad way. He could barely do like a bodyweight squat. So I worked with him for it was between 5 and 7 months. He'd been dealing with the back pain for years and years, and the hamstring thing had just popped up recently. We got him to a position where he could be back in training every week, and then he could also consistently play matches and not just come off the bench with minimal to no pain. So with someone like that, probably that sort of time frame. If you're looking at someone who just wants to get back to, maybe let's say, tying the shoelaces, going for a 5 or 10 minute walk daily, sitting for an hour pain-free, it could be a short amount of time. It might only be 2 or 3 months. I wouldn't say anyone works with me for less than that, just because back pain's complex, a lot of injuries are complex, and you need a bit of consistency, you need a bit of time. So 2 to 3 months seems to be the bare minimum. But a lot of people as well, I do physio with, and then I just PT with them afterwards. So they just carry on. Do I need a stronger core to fix my back pain? So again, this is a little bit of a myth in the rehab and physio world. So you will actually see, I've seen, and you will see a lot of people who've got back pain with very, very strong cores. So it's definitely not a thing on its own that a stronger core will fix your back pain or prevent you getting back pain. The reason for that is because a lot of people with back pain are very, very stiff. What I mean by that is they don't like moving their spine. They don't like bending forward. They don't like arching and extending back. They don't like bending side to side, and they don't like rotating. So if you get an extremely stiff person and then you give them core exercises that just create more stiffness, so planks, bird dogs, things along those lines where you're just holding one position, potentially can make it worse in some cases because you're not actually getting the spine moving, which is what it's designed to do. So with a lot of my clients, what I like to do is I like to not necessarily train the core, but just get the spine moving. So get people doing med ball slams, med ball rotations, mobility bits of the spine, reaches, twists, things like that. Obviously we build it up nice and gradually so people can kind of cope with the different ranges. But yeah, that's what I would do. That's what I do with a lot of back pain clients. So it's not core strength as such. It's more improving movement and mobility in their back. How important is strength for fixing a sore back? So this is a very similar question, but I assume you're meaning general strength here. So I do believe general strength is very important. So I think most people should be going or doing some form of strength work 2 to 3 times a week, whether that's in the gym or at home, and upper and lower body. I think that's really, really important. Most of the people I work with are not in that position because most of them go to the gym. Some of them don't. And so if you're not going to the gym and you're dealing with back pain and you come and work with me, I would recommend introducing that, some lower body strength days, some upper body strength days, and then some back mobility on top of that. But if someone comes to me and they go to the gym, like this footballer, he was a semi-professional footballer, he was already going to the gym 4 times a week. The issue was not strength, it was more of a movement issue, and his quality of movement and his in certain positions, so it's a bit more complex. So it wasn't just a case of, yeah, go and lift more weights as such. Hopefully that answers the question. So yes, strength is an important aspect, but it only makes up a small part of the equation, and it depends on the person. I think that probably answers that one best.